Alright guys, and welcome back to Armoured Warfare, and today we are taking out the PTL-02 Assaulter, the premium tier 7 Zheng tank destroyer. Now, I like this vehicle, but it's very hit or miss. It's got some really excellent points and some really terrible points, so without further ado, we'll start with the good news. The good news is that the 100mm gun that this gets, yes, it's a 100mm smoothbore gun, unlike all the other tier 7 tank destroyers. They get 120mm. This is a 100mm. Now, you may think that's a bad thing, but it's really not. It actually plays in favour of this vehicle. This vehicle has an incredibly fast reload time. 4.44 seconds. Very, very good. It also has an incredible DPM of over 7,000 damage per minute, which is insane. With my retrofits, I've got the Mark III chrome barrel lining, augmented breech block, the drivetrain to get the turret traverse and max speed up, and the intercom systems on this thing, all Mark III. And that's brought the accuracy down to 0.02 degree spread. The accuracy is so precise, it is a perfect sniper. Aim time is about 2.61 seconds, not too slow. The way I look at the aim time is does it beat reload? Yes, you're good. 4.44 second reload, 2.61 second aim time. So when I fire, I can go back straight down to pinpoint accuracy and fire again with accurate shots. That's good. The penetration of this gun is better. It's the best out of all the tier 7 tank destroyers. It's M1134. That doesn't count because that's ATGMs. I think that's a tank destroyer. That doesn't count as ATGMs. But out of the LAV 600 and the Centura 120 and this has the best penetration. I was really surprised by that. 450mm of penetration on that 100mm gun. That is brilliant. I think the Centura 120s is 391mm, but 450 allows this thing to pull off other just shots or more risky shots onto the front of main battle tanks than you otherwise would be able to in your Centura 120, for instance. What's the average damage? About 453, I think it is on this vehicle, which is really good. 453 average damage, 450mm of penetration, 4.44 second reload. It's got 0.02 degree spread, 2.61 second aim time. This gun is an absolute dream. This 100mm gun just shines. It is so good. Really good gun. The mobility, on the other hand, is where this thing falls down. Now, it's a wheeled vehicle, so you'd expect it to be quick in a straight line, like the Centura 120, like the LAV 600, but that's not the case with this vehicle. It's a very sluggish vehicle to pick up to speed. It's about 4.5 seconds from standstill to 32 kph. Now that is very, very slow. Compared to the other vehicles of its tier, the Centura 120s I think is about 3.5 seconds, and then the LAV 600s is just under 4 seconds. So they are quicker to accelerate, and they have higher top speeds. This vehicle has an 85 km/h top speed limit. Now that may sound good, but it will never reach that speed on the flat. On hard surface, it will never reach that, which is a bit bad. Whereas the Centura 120 and the LAV 600 both have over 100 km/h top speed limits, which is quite quick. Oh god, pardon me. The biggest problem though that I find with this vehicle is coupling the terrible mobility with the turning radius. This vehicle is quite long and the wheels don't turn very well. It has a very, very large turning radius, and since it's sluggish to accelerate, to do a 3-point turn in this vehicle can take forever. And if you're being incessantly shelled by artillery, like I am here, it becomes very difficult. Look at this, just trying to turn around. You can get hit so many times just by all the guns. These Leopard 2s and T-80 Type 85-2Ms, they can put a lot of rounds into you before you can turn around. Now, the AMX-10 RCR is like this vehicle. Very slow to accelerate, not particularly high top speed, but that makes up for it with its ability to neutral steer on the spot. That's why the mobility of that vehicle is not a bad thing, whereas this thing, it gets the worst of both worlds. It has sluggish top speed, sluggish acceleration, it also can't turn on the spot, which makes this thing a bit more clumsy to play. Another thing about this vehicle that can be it's a bit different, is rear-mounted turret. That's not a bad thing. Centuro 120 has it. 8 degrees of gun depression all around that vehicle has. It's not a problem. The Assaulter, on the other hand, is a very tall tank. Very tall vehicle, in fact. But the turret is situated at the back as well. So that makes the frontal gun depression only 4 degrees. 4 degrees over the front is not particularly good at all. It means it can't crest ridge lines forward. If it does, the 50mm of armor it has all round is going to be terrible. It only gets 40mm on the rear of the turret, but in every other case it's 50mm all around. But if you crest a ridge forward, you're going to die. You're going to take so many hits. This vehicle is so susceptible to heat. It's going to be terrible. It has no counters at all, no APS, no era or anything. 50mm of steel, that's all it is. Heat rounds will eat this thing apart. But over the rear of the vehicle, where the turret is mounted at the back, it gets 9 degrees over the back. That's why, if you've been watching the gameplay and not listening to me burble on about the vehicle for ages, you'll notice that I've always been reversing back over the hill. That's to get that gun depression of 9 degrees, so I can fire down over the ridge lines here and over the rocks, which is exactly what I want to do. It also allows us, if we reverse up the slope, to not have to 3-point turn to get out of a dangerous situation. We can just hold W and the vehicle will go. We're already pointing in the direction. We can quickly make a move. Turret traverse of this vehicle as well is about 63.25 degrees per second, which is not too bad, to be honest. It allows the gun to swing onto targets very, very quickly, and coupled with the aim time and the good accuracy means you can pull off certain shots that you might not be able to before. You can lock onto targets and change between targets relatively quite easily, actually, which is what I found. Compared to certain other tank destroyers, I'm not sure if there are any, to be honest, but if they have a slow traverse speed on the turret, it can be very difficult to bring that gun to bear. As well, if you've got the slow traverse speed and the poor mobility and turning radius that this vehicle has, if you're being circled by a VBL or a Weasel or even a Stingray, it can be very difficult to get your gun on target and defend yourself against them. Whereas if you've got the 63 degrees of turret traverse speed, it allows you to get that little bit more flexibility. If someone gets close to you and they start to circle you, you can attempt to keep the gun on target to them, which is always nice. So, onto the game now. I've done so much chatting about this vehicle because I've never featured this vehicle on my channel, and I'm just doing a quick review in case you guys are wondering what you're thinking of it. I think it's a good tank destroyer. I think it's good fun to play, and the 100mm gun is a very, very good gun for its tier. Probably the best tank destroyer gun, I would say, for its tier. And it's on a premium, so it will earn a decent amount of credits. So in this game, we've taken the top ridge. Tank destroyers on the top ridge, we can start putting down suppressive fire all around the map. So far, we've done 4,679 damage, that we know of. But we did put a blind shot onto the T-72A. Now, we'll have to find out at the end if we actually hit that round. But the scores now are not looking very good. It's 5-8 to the enemies, and they still have 3 tier 8 vehicles in the match. And while I'm on, all of us are on ridiculously low HP, and with the artillery incessantly shelling us, it's really pressuring this situation here. So I've come off the top of the ridge, knowing that we're being flanked. The main battle tanks are probably going to be pushing over the centre as well. So if I can knock out these enemy vehicles over here with the good reload time, I might stand a chance, but I don't. M1A1 and Leopard 2A5 both appear on the ridge, and they take me out with extreme prejudice because I'm a Chinese tank. But it is a good vehicle though, the Assaulter. I do recommend it if you are wondering, oh, what premium tank should I get next? If you've got the VFM and you've got the AMX 10P Pack 19, you know, you're just wondering about it. You're like, I haven't really seen much on the Assaulter. I've seen gameplay and I've seen a bit here and there, but I'm not too certain. I can safely say it's not a frontline vehicle. The armor will not hold up and the mobility is not good enough for front line. The gun, though, is perfect. The mobility is adequate for mid to long range and firing. Getting from different positions, it's adequate. It will get the job done. Medium to long range, armor isn't really a thing. but the gun, putting in the gun into a place, a situation where it will be good and it will excel, this vehicle really is good. Putting up into a flanking position where the enemies are going to cross out in front of you, side on, and you can pick them apart very, very efficiently, quickly, accurately, and, you know, just amazingly. And it will earn a lot of credits at that too. Not a terrible vehicle at all. Only the mobility really lets this thing down. The acceleration is not particularly good. So we did do 5,249 damage in the end there. Not too bad. Iron Star and a Steel Supply Crate. And when you look at the damage scores, in a Tier 8 match, in a Tier 7 Premium Tank Destroyer, I managed to do 5 more points of damage than the next best guy. Oh, pardon me. Which means that I did the most damage in the game. I did better than all those massive 120mm Tier 8 smoothbore cannons with my 100mm smoothbore. The PTL-02 Assaulter is a very capable Tier 7 premium tank. And as always, guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.